In the year 2028, one Big Mac will equal $1 million. From the Gospel of Jon McAfee. Bro, just learn to code. The Project Freedom Podcast.
Wow, I'm muted. Hi, I'm Josh, and welcome to the Project Freedom Podcast, episode number 6, or it might be number 7. I don't know, guys. I'm losing track here. Where we discuss anything and everything that has to do with sovereign individuality and freedom. And tonight, we're going to take some of those tasty, tasty orange pills because they are oh so tasty. I have a topic that I was wanting to talk about actually quite some time ago, but I'm going to do topics tonight because someone who I find to be a very admirable person has passed away, and I wanted to talk about that too. And actually, probably a majority of it tonight is going to be talking about the latter topic, which if you guys can't tell by the title is obviously Jon McAfee. Rest in peace, Mr. McAfee. But first, we're going to talk about Elizabeth Warren, okay? And I'll just get straight to the point here. We'll actually just start doing the work because that lady really, she really bothers me. Not so much her existence, but, well, yeah, kind of her existence really is what bothers me. But for those who don't know, lately, Miss Liz Warren, has been talking about basically how Bitcoin requires one Bitcoin transaction consumes as much energy as a household does in an entire 53 days. Okay. And guys, this everybody here knows. If you guys don't know who Elizabeth Warren is, she is she's not the most trustworthy person in the political realm. That's to say the least. But without getting over political here, let's just go ahead and look at this one article that I have pulled up where Mrs. Warren discusses some things that might be considered controversial. Okay. Mrs. Warren. All right. So this is from June 10th. All right, guys. The title says, you guys can see, Elizabeth Warren calls cryptocurrencies the new wild, wild west. The senator said that the time was right for the U.S. to begin regulating the alternative currencies. All right. And you know what? One thing, too, I've always thought about this, guys, like the word cryptocurrency, the fact that it's they have the word currency in there is somewhat misleading, okay? Now, different people have different definitions on what is a quote-unquote currency, all right? If you go with the definition of where a currency is basically the equivalent of what gold should have been, then in some cases, yes, one could consider a lot of these digital assets, because I think they should be called digital assets. A lot of these digital assets as a currency, right? But if you go with the use case of what most of these things are, they're not a currency. All right. So for example, like Cum Rocket, or actually Doge would be considered more of a cryptocurrency than Cum Rocket. And a lot of these current tokens I'm talking about, they're the doggy coins, right? They're the meme coins. They all have like the same several attributes. They have like a bazillion total supply. Okay. They all have some kind of like shiesty, like 3% of the transactions go to saving the whales or whatever. And there's also there's always some kind of like deflationary aspect to it. And it's basically, you guys already know, my smart guys here, that these are all just basically like rug pulls, which, you know, if you get in and get out, you made some money off, good on you. But those aren't currencies. And the narrative that they're trying to push in these news articles, it's like it's like they don't even understand what a lot of these things are, and they are just concerned that these digital assets are going to be competing with their ever so important fiat dollars. Okay. Real quick shout out to the chat. Babe Honker says, my body is ready. Indeed, my body is ready too. Oh, Michael T. Michael says, for the orange pill, question mark? It's a suppository, you know? Yes, it is. Let it begin again says, cheers, fellas. Cheers, my friend. Wade Emery says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Wade. Antonio says, sup, killers? What is up, my dude? When are we getting the Tesla on Swangas? Max Dignitas in the house says, boom, baby. Boom, baby, indeed. Blockchain Mac says, what is up, Josh? What is up, Andy? Greg B says, Liz Warren, yuck. Yes, Greg. Yuck indeed. Yuck indeed. All right, so let's talk about this. Okay, so it's the Wild Wild West. Yeah. Like we know, okay? Anytime something new is introduced into society and it's not completely understood, people are afraid of it, right? Much like back in the day when the automobile came out, people were like, hey, I'm not going to ride that thing. The thing could blow up. Like, I'm just going to take my old reliable horse and just slap him around, say, Mr. Horse, bring me to point A, from point A to point B, yada, yada, yada. But let's see what Mrs. Liz says in this article. So U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren likened cryptocurrency trading to the wild, wild west and argued that regulation for often volatile cryptocurrency markets was necessary. Okay, I mean, duh. Right? Anytime something new, especially new technology that people don't understand, is introduced to the world, there has to be some sort of regulation behind it, right? So I don't know why the fuck people are freaking out about this. Like, people were just like, "Oh my god, they're gonna regulate cryptocurrency." Yeah, I mean, they regulate everything, guys. Welcome to the government. I don't know what else to tell you. It says Miss Warren made the comments on Wednesday on Bloomberg TV following a meeting of the Senate Banking Committee to discuss digital currencies. We had a chance to talk with experts, bringing in a lot of senators around it. But the bottom line was that what's happening right now in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, not Bitcoin, Bitcoin and Dogecoin, it's a wild, wild west out there, and it makes it not a good way to buy and sell things, and not a good investment, and an environmental disaster. Okay. First of all, I don't know why she's like comparing Bitcoin and Dogecoin in the same sentence. Like, two completely separate digital assets. In fact, I wouldn't even consider Doge to be a digital asset. It's a meme coin, right? It's a doggy coin. Okay, it is not Bitcoin. Second of all, Mrs. Warren, it makes it not a good way to buy and sell things. I mean, one could also argue that the United States dollar is not a good way to buy and sell things because, well, we won't go down that rabbit hole, but it should be obvious to some of you people out there. It should be obvious. It's not a good investment, she says as well. Well, there's a lot of people out there who would definitely disagree with you, Mrs. Warren. And Mrs. Warren, I wouldn't be surprised if you yourself had a boomer coin or two. Wouldn't be surprised. And then the environmental disaster part. So we do need some regulations around this. You bet we do. Yeah, I mean, this is not anything crazy or new news, right? This is just basically just Liz Warren and the media trying to push some sort of like narrative that orange coin bad, right? Orange coin bad. And speaking of orange coin bad, I have this lovely article pulled up here as well. Another article about Liz Warren calling out Bitcoin's energy consumption. Bitcoiners bite back. All right, so basically in here you have Elizabeth Warren stating that a single Bitcoin transaction uses more energy than a typical U.S. household in a month. I think the estimate is 53 days. All right, right here. This is the part that, like, come on, lady. Come on. But Warren's critical viewpoint of Bitcoin doesn't end there. The former Democrat president candidate says thinks Bitcoin is an investment vehicle is flawed. In an interview on Bloomberg TV, Warren explained Bitcoin was very volatile, being like the wild, wild west investment. She declared, okay, yeah, so we have volatility in a brand new asset class that is linked to new technology that has not been used before, and we have volatility. Oh my God, it's going to zero, guys. Instead of talking about that, though, I wanted to focus on this right here, right? The whole a single Bitcoin transaction uses more energy than a typical U.S. household in a month, 53 days. is exactly what she says. All right, so let's just see. Let's pull up Elizabeth Warren's Wikipedia, and let's take a look at her credibility as a computer scientist. All right, so Elizabeth Ann Warren was born June 22nd, 1949, and she is an American politician and former law professor who is the senior United States Senator from Massachusetts, serving since 2013. She's a member of the Democratic Party and regarded as a progressive. I don't know why progressive is hyperlinked. I guess there's a page that talks about progressivism. Warren was focused on consumer protection, economic opportunity, and social safety net while in the Senate. All right. So Mrs. Warren, she cares a lot about you guys. All right. She cares a whole lot about you guys. So far in here, I see nothing that touts anything that would warrant her to have the credibility to make such claims. All right. So, she was focused on consumer protection. And if we hover over this little guy right here, it says consumer protection is a practice of safeguarding buyers of goods and services and the public against unfair practices in the marketplace. All right. So there might be something that she cares. Maybe she has some experience with protecting people from getting rugged, I guess one could say, although that might also be debatable. But let's see what she studied. So Warren is a graduate of the University of Houston and Rutgers Law School. All right. So what did she get her undergraduate in? So let's see. She was one of the most influential professors of bankruptcy law before beginning her political career. She has written 12 books. By the way, guys, if you don't know, Mrs. Warren also has a Native American cookbook because apparently she is like 0.8% Native American, and that gives her enough credibility to write a Native American cookbook. Maybe I'm pretty sure it had her undergraduate degree on here. So if we just go search for degree. All right, here it is. So she was in the University of Houston and graduated in 1970 with a Bachelor's of Science degree in speech pathology. All right, there it is, speech pathology. And obviously after that, she got her law degree, right? Speech pathology and a lawyer. All right, so she knows a lot about speech pathology and law. Anything in here that says anything about computer science, anything to do with like anything of that at all, anything technical related? I don't think so. I don't think so. In fact, I won't sit here and read this entire Wikipedia page. If you guys want to do that, you can feel free to go to Wikipedia and check out Elizabeth Warren's Wikipedia page. But that being said, I have already looked at it, and there is nothing, and I mean nothing, that touts any credibility towards Mrs. Warren to be able to make such audacious claims. Okay. So I don't know what to say about this other than the fact that I think that I just personally don't think that this lady is a person of the people, one would say. I don't think she cares a lot about people enough to be going out of her way to say negative things about the orange coin other than for some other sort of reason, right? And you guys can use your brains to make up a conclusion of what reason you think that is. I didn't bring my tinfoil hat today, guys. Guys, I actually had planned on wearing a tinfoil hat to the stream for what we're about to go over next because it is going to be a little tinfoil hatty. But yeah, didn't bring it. And you guys are just going to have to pretend like I have one on, okay? All right, so the next piece of news I wanted to bring up, the next thing I wanted to talk about was this. All right, so take a look, fellas. Jon McAfee, American computer programmer, has died June 23rd, 2021. And you guys know this was 2 days ago, right? The place of death is considered to be a prison in Spain, right? And actually, we can just go ahead and look at this most recent CNN article from 9 hours ago that should give us some details about Mr. McAfee's death. I'm sure some of you guys have already heard about this stuff already. Jon McAfee was indeed a well-known person. So the article says Jon McAfee found dead in Spanish prison after his extradition to the U.S. was approved. Jon McAfee, the controversial antivirus software magnate, who'd had multiple recent run-ins with the U.S. law. If you guys don't know about that, we can try to talk about that tonight. has died at age 75. McAfee was awaiting extradition in a Spanish prison after being charged with tax evasion in the United States last year. All right. There's also some debate as to whether or not the tax evasion he was charged with is credible or uncredible. McAfee was found dead in his cell in a prison near Barcelona on Wednesday around 1 p.m. And the medical examiner went to the scene. A spokeswoman for the Supreme Court of Catalunya told CNN, she said the cause of death is under investigation. Well, since it just played on its own, we can just go ahead and watch this, guys.
He was found dead in a prison near Barcelona Wednesday. It follows a Spanish court ruling that paved the way for his...
Looks like it doesn't want to load. Anyway, I think you guys get the point. Okay, Jon McAfee has passed away, guys, and it happened ever so suddenly after his extradition to the United States. Okay, I'm going to mute this annoying lady right here because it won't let me pause it. All right, so his death came after a ruling from 3-judge panel at Spain's National Court in Madrid this week that McAfee could be extradited to the United States to face charges there. So basically, like, you guys don't know what extradition means. It's when a criminal gets locked up out of the United States, all right, and they're currently in the custody of another country, and the United States has a reason to want to bring them back into the United States to try them, all right, because of law around the world, you can't necessarily, the United States can't technically just, barrage into Spain and be like, yo, give me my citizen, we're gonna rug him, okay. So soon after he was basically told, like, hey, you can come back. We're going to bring you back to the United States. We're going to bring you back, pound you out like a mallard duck, because that's what they were intending to do. He suddenly died, right? And everyone, this CNN news article 9 hours ago isn't saying anything about the suicide yet. Although I did want to see that because this is a new article. But the rumor going around, obviously, is that Mr. McAfee committed suicide, correct? Real quick, I'll get caught up with the chat. Greg B says, Liz Warren being a disingenuous liar as usual. Indeed. Babe Honker says, regardless of the credentials, what matters is your argument's true and valid, and this is not. Christian Soto with the RIP coffin emojis. Max Dignitas says, spent all our tinfoil money on more crypto. Yes, indeed, we did. Greg B says, RIP to a true legend. Yeah, I mean, guys, he was a smart guy. Jon McAfee was a little bit eccentric and out there, but he was a smart guy. I mean, his software is almost on all of your computers, and it probably will be for quite some time. But let's continue. The decision could still have been appealed to a larger panel of judges at the same court, according to the court documents. All right, so I mean, he had a chance, right? The guy had a chance. I don't think that Mr. McAfee would have ever committed suicide, because if you guys know anything about the man, he loved life a little too much, one would say. And we're going to get into this later, but there's some nefarious information out there that may or may not be true, and we're going to try to look into that tonight and see if it is indeed true, or if it is indeed false, or if we can defer or derive anything that is valid from these tinfoil hat notions going on out there. So the article says McAfee had a cellmate at the prison, but the person was not in the cell around the time that McAfee was found dead. All right, so little sus right there, if you ask me. That's just a little bit sus. Just the prison mate just happened to not be around the time of McAfee's death. Right? I mean, they only just live in a prison cell together. Where was the other guy at Disney World on vacation? I mean, all right. So now the prison officials asked not to name this guy. The officials added the other person was out doing other normal activities at the prison. Okay. Asked if authorities had imposed special monitoring measures on McAfee in his cell. The official said, I'm not aware of that. All right. So, I mean, did they not have a camera in the cell? Because there's videos of him on the internet with a camera in his cell. So I wonder what happened to that camera. McAfee was arrested in Spain in October after being indicted in the United States for tax evasion months earlier. He allegedly failed to file taxes for 4 years despite earning millions in income between 2014 and 2018 from promoting cryptocurrencies. Okay, so this part also is the part that I was talking about before. Like, how he procured money that they're saying is that he was evading taxes on. That's sort of like in a gray area. So I just don't think I don't think that they would be that angry at him for evading taxes when they literally have their own politicians evading taxes, and it's like totally okay. So in my mind, in my humble opinion, I mean, it just seems like there might be maybe some other reason as to why they didn't like this guy very much. And trust me, the United States government most indeed did not like Mr. McAfee. All right. Also, consulting work and speaking engagements. Okay, so this part, these parts could be correct from what I understand. And selling the rights to his life story for a documentary, according to the court documents. The amount he owed was not specified in the indictment. So the Spanish judges approved his extradition for the 2016, 17, 18 tax years. And then they had a virtual hearing that wasn't too long ago. That's out circulating on the internet as well, if you guys want to go and see that. Okay. McAfee, founder of Imponius antivirus software firm. Imponius antivirus software firm. I don't even know if I'm saying that word right, guys. With which he is no longer affiliated with because he sold the company. All right. He sold the company. And I don't want to say why he sold the company. If you guys want to go out and, watch his videos where he explains why he sold the company, then, maybe, you can come up with a conclusion yourself, because he literally is telling you why he sold the company. And again, you got to take some of these things that he says with a grain of salt, because he is a quite eccentric person. All right. The U.S. Department of Justice alleged that he had a business partner participated in a scheme that earned more than $13 million by falsely promoting cryptocurrencies to unwitting investors. All right. 2012, McAfee briefly vanished after fleeing his home in Belize because local police tried to question him on the death of his neighbor. He has denied involvement in the death and claimed he fled because he feared for his life. He spent time in Guatemala and then moved to Montreal, Canada, where he worked on a documentary about his life. He ran for U.S. president in 2016 as a libertarian and launched a new security product that he called a fucking game changer. All right. What a base motherfucker to have the nerves to say the F word. All right. So that's the news with this, guys. That is the news with this. And, all we know so far at the top of our heads is that, McAfee is dead, right? That article actually didn't specifically say anything about hanging himself, although there are quite a few things out there in the news that does say that. And I just find it funny that now that this one from today is not mentioning him hanging himself. So here's another article I would like to pull up from the good old Alex Jones website. I don't even know if I should say those two words because I'm probably going to get flogged in the algorithm for saying that. But anyway, Edward Snowden says, and if you guys don't know who Edward Snowden is, he is he's basically was the guy that blew the whistle on the NSA back in the late mid 2000s. I actually did a college project on Edward Snowden. All right. If you guys don't know what Prism is, Project Prism, and actually maybe we should pull that up. Maybe we should pull up Project Prism. Find it, Snowden Prism. I believe it's still on Wiki LEAKS, because I'm not even sure if I should even say that name. I don't even think Wiki LEKS is even available anymore. But lo and behold, it's on normal Wikipedia. All right, so if you guys don't know what Project Prism is a code name for a program under which the United States National Security Agency, so the NSA, collects internet communications from various U.S. internet companies. All right, so this is something pretty big, and I know I'm kind of getting off the point here, but I just want you guys to understand the relevance of who Edward Snowden is, because Edward Snowden is not a nobody. He is a very smart and intellectual person. He's an ex-developer, so he used to be a developer, which we all know, smart guy, smart cookies, right? But the article that I was previously on is Snowden commenting on the death of Mr. McAfee. And I don't want you to take his comment in a negative fashion, because I want you guys to understand the things that Mr. Snowden brought to life for all of us, literally all of mankind. All right, back to Project Prism. Okay, so the program is also known as SIGAD. Prism collects internet communications based on demands made to internet companies such as Google LLC under Section 702, blah, 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 blah. I wonder if they have the slideshows. Yes, indeed they do. Okay, so basically, we'll just look at the slideshows for Project Prism real quick. And if you guys don't know what Project Prism is, you need to know, all right? Because, of course, they're not going to tell you this in school. Of course, they're not going to talk about this in the news. In fact, when the whole Edward Snowden thing was going down on the news, they left out all of these things, okay? But Edward Snowden was an ex-developer who essentially worked his way up in the NSA to the point to where, you know, he was able to see quite a lot of things that would be taxing on a person to see, one man alone. All right. And what he did was he blew the whistle and kind of like brought all this information over to Julian Assange, who was the owner of WikiLeaks. If you guys don't know WikiLeaks, it's basically like it is like a semi-decentralized web platform from where anyone and everyone can just simply post information that they don't want to be able to be censored or taken down, okay? Which again, just to note, all these men that I'm speaking about are indeed highly orange-pilled. But here is one of the things that Mr. Snowden has unveiled to us. So basically, he gave these copies to a slideshow presentation that the NSA was giving on this computer program that they had, all right? So here's an overview of Prism, all right? The introduction. All right. What they're saying here is most of the world's communications flow through the U.S. If you guys don't know how the internet works, we basically have lines and lines of cable that connect all the countries that are basically dug underneath the sea. I mean, they're not really dug. They're basically like laid where we have cables in the ocean that connect all of our continents together, all right, through the internet. And most of the traffic from this internet flows in through the USA and Canada, all right? So a target's phone call, email, or chat will take the cheapest path, because that's how the internet works, guys, not the most physically direct path. You can't always predict the path. Your target's communications could easily be flown into the U.S., into and through the U.S. All right. Next slide, Prism collection details. All right, guys. So over here on the left-hand column, over here, and the bright blue-looking, teal-looking side, we see a list of providers that are providing to this software. Number one, Microsoft. All right, so one of the biggest tech companies in the United States is giving the NSA data. All right, Google. All right, another big tech company. Yahoo, Facebook, Paltalk, YouTube, Skype, AOL, and Apple. Okay, and this was in the like mid 2000s. All right, guys. So who knows who they have on this list now? But let's just take a look and see what will you receive in collection. So surveillance and stored communications, ? It varies by provider, but in general, they get access to email, chat, video, and voice, videos, photos, stored data, voice over IP, file transfers, video conferencing, notifications of target activity, logins, etc., online social networking details, special requests. All right. So basically, so far, what we can tell is that this software is from all these tech companies is giving information. They're basically plugged in to the NSA, giving information to them, right? Now, when I was actually doing my presentation about this in school, there was some question as to whether or not like these companies were willingly did this, or if the NSA was just basically like, hey, if you guys don't do this, we're gonna take you and take you out back and pound you out like a mallard duck. All right. Let's look at the next slide and let us see dates for when Prism collection began for each year. So they started this in 2007, and they added Apple all the way in October 2012. And Apple is basically like what the most private of all these companies, right? So they even got them, and this is back in 2013. Prism costs $20 million per year. Quite expensive, and we're talking about the energy consumption of the Orange coin earlier. But I wonder, I guess the energy consumption of Orange coin is considered to be a waste of energy to these people, as opposed to just collecting massive amounts of everyone's data. It seems to be a good without permission. Seems to be a good use of energy for these people. All right. Let's look at the other slide. I don't know why it's not letting me put up the slideshow view. I just want to see which one of these is. Back to slideshow. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much. Prism tasking processes. This is not anything that's going to be of use to you guys, but basically they send this information out to multiple government organizations. Here is the collection data flow. So, and these are all, so basically we have the CIA, the FBI over here. They're also plugged in to this program. And then we have several these other things that you guys are seeing, that names that you don't recognize, like Pinwhale, Nucleon. These are all other older mass data collection software programs from the NSA, which are also plugged in to this. And then they have how they classify the records. So it's not just like they're taking this data on specific people for a specific time. They're literally classifying each of these pieces of metadata in a file somewhere, I guess, online. All right. If that's not important to you, then don't know what to tell you. And then there's just the rest of this stuff. All right. So to make my point, this is one of the things that Edward Snowden has revealed to people. All right. So Edward Snowden is not a nobody. He's a smart person. Okay. So we go back to this article. Snowden basically says that after McAfee's death by suicide, that Assange could be next. And again, I talked to you guys about Julian Assange not too long ago. I mentioned that he is basically the person who is responsible for WikiLeaks. All right. And WikiLeaks is the software that I also mentioned earlier that allows people to publish information about anyone and everyone, whoever they want, without censorship. So here's a tweet from Edward Snowden from June 23rd, which is 2 days ago, that says Europe should not extradite those accused of non-violent crimes to a court system so unfair and prison system so cruel that native-born defendants would rather die than become subject to it. Julian Assange could be next. Until the system is reformed, a moratorium should remain. And then he's tweeting to the Peter McChivo tweet saying that Jon McAfee was found dead in his prison cell. Yada, yada, yada. All right. All right. Quick break to catch up with the chat because you guys are moving fast for me. All right. Wade Emery says custody is responsible for the prisoner's well-being. Max Dignitas, other normal activities. Dan S., shout out my friend. What's good, gents? Rewatching from start at 1.5x. Hope you get caught up, my friend. Antonio says, I want to use my crypto money to get 26 orange coin rims and the candy orange Tesla. That is not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea. Babe Hunker says, Antonio, it's called the Dreamsicle Tesla. You guys. Max Dignitas says, Snowden started as a contractor. Yeah, he did start as a contractor, didn't he? Sam Petruski says, boom, boom, my friend. Shout out. So here we have Mr. Snowden kind of giving hints that, something is next, right? Someone is next. But why would Edward Snowden say that? Why would he say that Julian Assange is next unless he just happens to suspect something nefarious in the death of Jon McAfee? Okay. And I actually also believe that there is some nefarious activities involved with this McAfee thing. All right, so something I wanted to pull up here next, guys, to discuss the nefarious activities of Mr. McAfee's death. Now, keep in mind, a lot of this stuff out there circulating on the internet right now and at all times is obviously LARPing, right? But this was something interesting that I ran across, and we're gonna try to pick this apart real quick, and I'm gonna show you guys how we can do that to our fullest capabilities. All right, but essentially, here's a this little thread that has a lot of the pieces about this conspiracy theory jumbled up together, so I don't have to go and sort it around and find it everywhere else. But basically, an Etherscan wallet named Epstein with the tracker ID whacked wakes up after being asleep and starts sending unknown messages. McAfee may not be bluffing about his dead man switch. So here, and actually have, we're actually going to go to Etherscan and check that out. But here's a screenshot of the smart contract on Etherscan, okay, under the whacked ticker symbol. All right. I think that's hilarious. But the reason that they're saying something about this is, first and foremost, we have this right here, which basically is saying that is a tweet from Jon McAfee from October 15th, 2020. All right. And Mr. McAfee is saying, I'm content in here. I have friends. The food is good. All is well. Know that if I hang myself, a la Epstein, it will be no fault of my own. I think it's funny. He says, a la Epstein, because that sounds like something that exactly he would say. All right. Anyway, so red flag. All right. Another red flag. Why would he be saying that kind of stuff? Unless he just had intended to just rope himself to be a martyr. But I don't know if I believe that is true. All right. Here's another tweet from November 30th, 2019 from Jon McAfee. Says, getting subtle messages from U.S. officials saying, in effect, we're coming for you, McAfee. We're going to kill you. I got a tattoo today just in case. If I suicide myself, I didn't. I was whacked. Check my right arm. Whacked available on McAfeeDex.com. Did anybody pick up any of those whack tokens? I got a few of them. All right, so here it is. Ticker symbol WACKD on his arm. All right, so the man got this tatted on his arm. All right, so maybe he's trying to tell people something. Let's go back to this little thing right here, and this is the part that I don't want to read because it's like some of the stuff is obviously LARPing. All right. This is a screenshot from 4chan forum that came on the day of McAfee's death. And this guy says, holy shit, the code in the Q picture was actually the hexadecimal representation of a private key for an Ethereum wallet. The wallet is empty and has no transaction history on the mainnet. But if you look at Robstein testnet, and that's not true, it does have transaction history on the mainnet. But he says, if you look on the Robstein testnet, there is a test deployment of the whacked contract prior to it being launched on mainnet. There was also a new text contract launched 6 days ago from the same address, but the code is not published to scour mainnet to find any similar contracts. What the fuck is going on here? I'm pretty good with Ethereum. Do some Solidity programming, but might need some assembly ninjas to help reverse engineer this contract code and see what the fuck it is. How the fuck is he deploying contracts and posting on the social media with hidden keys to the wallets, creating contracts from jail and or dead? This shit had my heart rate through the roof. I need a fucking Xanax. Yeah, I haven't found any. I looked around for a bit. I haven't found anything from where he was deploying like that proves that he was deploying the smart contract. Obviously, there's his tweet with the wax ticker symbol on his arm, all right? And he's telling people to go to McAfeeDex.io to go and swap for it, right? But I mean, who's to say that McAfee was the one who wrote that code and deployed it? Maybe he told someone else to do it, right? Back to the same thread, McAfee launches whacked and Epstein didn't kill himself crypto. I mean, this American entrepreneur Jon McAfee has launched a polemic meme cryptocurrency dubbed whacked, marketed with the rubric Epstein didn't kill himself. All right, so that's the wallet. That's the address name. All right, and here's something that's basically touting that there, some in some way, shape, or form, there is 31 terabytes of data out there on some Pirate Bay thing that is like saying that the private key for this, it just doesn't make any sense. And I'm gonna tell you why, guys. All right. Here's one thing that I did though that I did think was kind of sus. Basically, the day that McAfee dies in a prison in Madrid, U.S. military planes fly from Spain back to the good old USA. Sure thing, Bobs. They say he hung himself. All right. So look at that Epstein smart contract, and here it is, guys. Here is the Epstein smart contract, as you can see. Let's look at. It's got a lot of movement over here. All right, so basically, someone sent this address hex. This wasn't here last night. That's funny. Okay, so here. Let's take a look at the. There's a lot of transactions going on. People are continuing to buy this thing 43 seconds ago, 1 minute ago. All right. Okay. People are interacting with the smart contract. What they're saying is in the smart contract, there's like some clues in the code. All right. So let's see if that's true. First thing and foremost, though, this smart contract is an ERC20 token. It is not an NFT. Okay. Although that is what they're saying, that there's like a NFT in this ERC. The people who wrote the things don't understand this stuff very well. But here we can go ahead and read the smart contract. All right. So basically what we have here is we have a contract called Safe Math, which really just does some basic mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And I'm going to bet that here, yep, we have the contract interface. So then we just have an interface, all right? This is just basically some functions that are not built, but they're just defined right here to be used elsewhere later after they're inherited. We have an approve, call, fallback function, all right? Then we have the owned contract, which basically is, transferring ownership or declaring ownership of this contract. Then we have the contract Epstein, and it's inheriting the ERC20 interface, the owned contract, and the safe math contracts. All these other contracts are just going to be inherited by this contract right here called Epstein. All right. And this Epstein contract is where the meat and potatoes is of this. All right. So basically we just have everything else so far of a normal ERC20 contract. We have a name, all right, a symbol, the decimals, the total supply. We have a mapping data type for balances, and we also have a mapping for allowed. We have the constructor, of which it just basically says, all right, here's the name of this token. It's whacked, and the symbol is WACKD. As total supply, I have no idea how the fuck many tokens that is. It's a lot. It's like 1 quadrillion tokens, all right? And then they're basically, giving the balance. They're setting a balance of a specific address to be equal to this total supply. So they, this is where they're giving this, when this smart contract is launched onto the main net. As soon as this code is fired, whatever wallet that this address down here belongs to is going to be given the total supply, all right? And then they're emitting a transfer, so then just basically writing a log, all right? And then, yeah, the rest of this is just fill in the blank of those functions stenciling out, all right? And in here so far, there's nothing, there's really nothing of like weirdness going on. I mean, there's some burn actions being taken there. There's an approve function. There's a transfer from function. There's an allowance function. There's an approve and call function. And there's a function that if you send ETH to this contract, it'll just revert the Ethereum back. So if someone accidentally sends ETH to this contract, it won't steal their Ethereum, because we know that Mr. McAfee wouldn't want people to have their Ethereum accidentally stolen, right? And then we have a transfer in ERC20 token. All right. So far, I mean, there's nothing like super crazy in this smart contract, right? The people are saying all kinds of stuff on the internet, but no one has actually taken the time to go out and look at this code. Okay. But I mean, we have something that could give us, some direction. And maybe we could find out who, or get some information on whoever this wallet belongs to. So maybe we should just go back to good old Etherscan.io and paste that wallet in right here, and let's just see if we can find anything about this wallet. Bada boom, bada bing. There is the address. All right. So don't see 337,000 transactions. So maybe we can check out the comment section, because that's about all we're going to get here in regards to this. All right. So it says, this man earns at the expense of the death of another. Disgusting cripple. This address is selling whacked. This address created whacked, right? Keys would be John's, or has a foreign entity taking control. I mean, first of all, who knows that this address created whacked? I mean, we don't know that, all right? But we do know that whoever did create that whacked smart contract decided to give the initial total supply of the whacked ERC20 tokens to whoever this address is, all right? And obviously, unless you believe that McAfee is alive today, that would be impossible, because, I mean, there's still transactions going on here from different dexes, right? So you tell me what you guys think. What do you guys think about all that? I so far, I mean, I haven't seen anything like super nefarious about this smart contract. All right. I mean, people are saying that people are saying all kinds of stuff. All right. And I don't want to tarnish Jon McAfee's name by just like making weird rumors out there. Okay. And I'm a huge conspiracy theorist, guys. Like, I'm #1 tinfoil hat, guys. So I'm sorry if you guys came here to find some super cool information, but be careful what you believe on the internet, because some of this stuff, if you just simply take a peek, it doesn't make sense, all right? And just to note, some people are saying that Binance Smart Chain is where the real one of these is. And that's not true, because the Binance Smart Chain contract was released yesterday, and that was after Jon McAfee's death. This smart contract was deployed years ago, right? So maybe there's a coordinated disinformation campaign going around. Who knows? We get back to the chat. Babe Honker says tinfoil hat is on right now. Good, my friend. We need it. Max Dignita says we could all use Xanax these days. Yes, we can with this volatility going on over here. Blockchain Max says Harambe wasn't just a gorilla. Christian So says, what if his tweets 3 months later, I lived? Yeah, I mean, boom, he would have rugged us all, right? Babe Honker says Psyop all around. So, guys, I don't believe that McAfee killed himself, all right? I don't. But, I mean, the guy was a huge advocate for, well, instead of an advocate, we could say the guy was a huge critic of our current monetary policy, right? Our current monetary financial system and the banks and all that, everything that the orange pill encompasses, right? They've done some not so nice things to people who disclose that information. Okay. Now, was Jon McAfee whacked? We don't know. We don't know. Did they not like him? We do know that for sure, right? But I don't think that guy would have killed himself. I mean, if you guys have a chance to check out John from Modern Life Dating and Charlie from Cultivate Crypto, they actually interviewed Mr. McAfee last May, in May of 2020. And although McAfee was an eccentric guy, I mean, there's nothing that would indicate that dude would be the kind of dude to kill himself. Now, they say that the people who do take their own lives tend to never really give a sign of it, but it seems like, he was giving quite the opposite, right? He was telling people like, hey, I'm not going to kill myself. So if I do, then you guys will know that it wasn't me, right? And thus, with all the crazy stories going on out there on the internet about Orange Coin bad, I don't know. You guys tell me what y'all's opinion is, because I have my personal opinion. There's also that information out there about the Pirate Bay, 31 terabytes of data. All right. I mean, I would do a live deep dive for that for you guys on stream, but we don't use such kind of software around here, right? Not on this channel, because that would be against the law, right? And we would never want to disobey the law, because the law is our Lord and Savior, right? So yeah, guys, there's nothing really new out there other than the fact that people are dying, all right, and Orange Coin bad. But if a thing that I want everyone to start realizing is this is starting to come up a lot more often, right? Orange Coin bad, Orange Coin bad, Orange Coin bad. Where do we see this in the media before? Wear the thing around your mouth. Wear that thing around your mouth. Take the thing inside you. You know what I mean? If you don't, you're a bad person, right? You hate babies if you do that. Orange man bad, orange man bad, orange man bad. Regardless of what you believe about the person, that was an obvious coordinated attack on the orange man, right? And now at the same time, we have an obvious coordinated attack on the orange coin, right? And like, the media doesn't care about you, people. They don't make money from caring about you. You're never going to wake up in the morning and read a newspaper article that says, all right, it's sunny and 75 outside and everything's okay. And yeah, you guys just, everyone have a great day. That's it, right? It's always what? It's always somebody bad. Orange coin bad, orange man bad, orange this bad, orange that bad, right? But, we had this whole like crazy, this whole crab-19 epidemic that went down not too long ago, okay? And I would argue to say there was a lot of like, negative things going on in media, persuading people to feel certain ways because that's just appears that that's what they want to do. And I would argue to say that, if you were living in a cabin out in, bumfuck Missouri, and you just simply didn't read the news and you just simply interacted with the same 10, 20 people on a monthly basis, that if you just didn't have any internet, didn't have any media, you didn't have any of that stuff, that you probably wouldn't even know that, that this stuff, that anything was going on, right? You probably wouldn't even know, right? So in a time where we have media trying to persuade people to feel a certain way, because that's not a conspiracy. All right, guys, the media is 100% trying to persuade people to feel a certain way. Okay. They're not giving this information out to people because they genuinely love and care about you. All right. I'm sorry to break your feelings or hurt your feelings and to break the news to you, but that's just the case. All right. In a time where that stuff happens, all right, everybody needs to be very careful with the stuff that they put inside of your brain. Because if you can watch the media and they can persuade millions and millions of people to feel a certain way, they can do that to you too. And what does that do ultimately, other than just making you feel a certain way? Because first of all, you have to be very careful with how things make you feel. Okay. You don't want to involve yourself in negativity ever. If you want to be a successful person in life, if you want to get your job done and be productive member of society and do good work, you don't want to let negativity into your head, even if it's negativity that you should be facing. When the time comes for you to face something negative, then you should handle it, but you shouldn't be constantly inputting negative things in your head, is my point. But what does that do to you? And what does that do to other people? That takes away your freedom. All right. That takes away your freedom to think and feel a certain way. Okay. And that's not good. It's not good at all. It's not good for anyone to be out there, any outlet or corporation or entity to be out there coordinating together to make people feel and think a certain way. It's not good. And it's not good because if you can't even have peace in your thoughts without picking up your phone or turning on a TV or reading a newspaper, then you don't even have freedom in your own mind. All right. Which is why I avoid all those things, people. I avoid all that stuff, guys. I do at all costs. All right. Babe Hunker in the chat, law abiding citizen. Yes, indeed. VZ Jinx says law is God. Yes, of course, law is God. We would never disobey. Blockchain Max says human psychology is interesting. Saint Chocolate says McAfee interviews in Tokyo Crypto Show episode 59. Yes, it is episode 59, guys. He also says, he says the same thing again. VZ Jinx says they wishy-washy on their feelings about Bitcoin. They have posted positive Bitcoin videos before. Now they're just swaying negativity, but soon it will lean positively. I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. Shoot, they're still posting trillions and billions about being made about Bitcoin and crypto. Very true. Saint Chocolate, in quotes, says all our research shows we can't tell people what to think, but we can tell them what to think about. Very true quote, Muff. That is very good, Saint Chocolate. Thank you for that comment. That is very good. Yeah, I mean, that's true. They can't force you guys to think a certain way, but they can put things in front of your face to where you see it all the time, right? And to where you're constantly focused about something all the time, right? And they just slowly but surely start implanting things in your head, right? That's why we need to take our tinfoil hats and put them on, gentlemen. We must fortify ourselves by taking the orange pill every single day that we can, and taking the red pill and taking the dead pill. All right. Don't have a whole lot for you guys tonight. All right. Other than that, I just wanted to put my thoughts out there about that stuff. And, I guess the one thing you guys can take away all from this is that just be careful what you read. Okay. Be careful what you read. Be careful what you watch on TV. All right. And just be careful what you put in your head. Don't trust the media. Okay. I know that, if you're a boomer out there, the thought that, oh my God, the news would never lie to me. It's the news. It's the news. It's the news. It's made to give me the news, the good news, right? Nope. Sorry, it's not how it works. That's not how capitalism works, right? The news isn't monetizing, giving you guys peace and prosperity, right? They're monetizing the exact opposite. Max Anita says a content population consumes less than a discontent population. Very true, my friend. Very true. But yeah, guys, that's it. I won't sit here and waste too much time because that's all I had. Okay. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there about the stuff and, give a warning to everybody to be careful what you watch, be careful what you put into your mind, and be careful what the news says. Okay. Never trust any of these people. Never trust anything. Don't even trust me, guys. Honestly, don't just, if I say something, don't just trust it because I said it. All right. Always do your own research because you never know what you read could be false or true. And good night, guys. That's it. I got a guest coming on soon. I might stream tomorrow, but Saturdays aren't guaranteed. But if I do, I'll see you then. If not, I'll see you guys on Monday. I'm out. Later.